Hello, my name is Stephen White. I don't have any script for this video, it's all spontaneous. And the purpose is for me to talk about myself and who I am, but the greater purpose is that I'd like to find out whether there are any other people like myself here on this planet, because for the most part, I've felt very unusual and alien. And I'm wondering whether there are any other people out there who have felt like I have. I grew up in a very rural area of South Carolina in the United States, and I was the oldest child. I had a sister later who was 5 years younger, but for the first few years, I just grew up, just me and my parents. And my parents were not getting along very well. They were bickering and arguing, and I'm not going to go into much into the details of that, but um, it was a very difficult situation for me as a child. And I grew up in an area where there really wasn't anybody who knew who I was and could reflect that back to me. And my mother was a complete narcissist, and um, while my father was still alive, he died when I was not quite 9 years old, and they separated even before that. But while he was there, I think he took the brunt of her anger and blaming, because she had to blame someone else for everything that happened. Nothing could ever be her fault. And then when he was gone, it was me, and I was her scapegoat, and I was always wrong, and I was always, almost every day, getting a belt or a switch, which was just common back then. Those of you who are older know we used to, especially the boys, we used to get it almost every day, or at least I did, for something. And um, and then when I started to school, uh, this role of scapegoat followed me there, and the teachers took it up, and the other pupils took it up, and so I grew up with the idea that that I was bad and wrong, and there was something really bad about me. But the thing about it is, I never really did anything externally that was bad, like teenage boys. I was stuck out there in the country, and I know other boys my age that lived in town, you know, did things that were mischievous and perhaps did some vandalism or things like that. And I never did things like that, but I just couldn't understand why they were treating me like this unless there was really something wrong with me. So I grew up with that idea, and ordinarily the only way we have to know who we are is what other people tell us we are. And if they're telling us consistently that there's something wrong with us, then there's a very strong tendency to accept that. And when I got to be an adult, let's say around 18 years old, I remember when my mind just suddenly woke up one day, and it was like the lights came on. I don't know if other people experienced it as dramatically as I did, but the frontal lobes of the brain, I guess you would say, came online, and I started to be interested in Christian theology. I was an evangelical Christian at that time, and I'd borrow books from the ministers library, and then later I went to Bible college and got introduced to philosophy there, and um, I had a great love for philosophy, so I went to the University of South Carolina and got a bachelor's degree in philosophy. And I was searching for a deeper meaning to life because what I had what I had seen around me just didn't make sense, and it wasn't satisfying to me, and I was suffering so badly and was so unaware back then of really of myself and what was going on, but I knew intuitively that I had to face all this pain and darkness that I had been saddled with during my childhood and growing up years. And I think I made that decision when I was 18 years old. I've got to face this no matter how difficult it is. And so that's been my orientation ever since. And I felt like I couldn't fit in, that hardly anyone understood me, and yeah, just like I was an alien from outer space or something. I didn't know really anyone else like myself until I got into the university and started studying with a professor there who was somewhat like me, not completely, but um, similar enough that I felt like I could talk to him, and but even he didn't understand me uh, the way I wanted to be understood. And so I'm looking for people like myself because I've all these years I've tended to hide myself away. I had an outlet when I was in the university for my intellectual inclinations, and I studied and I read theology and philosophy, later Buddhist philosophy, psychology, and just anything I could get my hands on that looked like it might provide some answers. And um, I've been on a spiritual path ever since I was 18 years old, and have gone through a lot of changes: evangelical Christianity, esoteric Christianity, Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, and a little bit of New Age stuff mixed in there at times. And um, it's really taken a long time to come to terms with what I was given. And yeah, I'm at this point, back last spring, a Zen master told me that I needed to start offering something to people because I had something to offer. That I've got some I've accumulated some wisdom over the years, and I have to give myself credit for that. And the Zen master said so. So it's not just me saying that. And so if you've are one of these people who's been searching for meaning, especially in intellectual disciplines like the ones I mentioned, feeling like an alien, feeling like there's something wrong with you, maybe you've been chronically depressed. I know that I've gone through long clinical depressions, and just feeling like there's no adequate structure in society for you to express who you feel you are. Maybe you feel like I felt like and still feel like I have a tremendous energy and intensity, and very few people seem to be comfortable with that and seem to be able to tolerate it. And so um, I felt like I had to suppress it. There was no way to express it, and that's what it turns back. It turned back on me, and um, the need to suppress my energy to that degree made me depressed a lot of the time. And um, so I've been on this path of awareness, as I said, for a very long time, and I've accumulated a lot of knowledge, methods, and techniques to work with myself and by extension with people like me. So um, if what I'm saying resonates with you at all, I'd appreciate it if you'd get in touch with me, and I'd like to talk to you because um, I think maybe I have something to offer that would be useful and helpful to you. Okay, thanks.